Guide coat. Guide coat is there to make sure that the stuff is flat, whatever that stuff is. In this case, it's a door, and it's a long, large panel. It's got some funky shapes here and there, but the majority of it is flat. Back to the point. You have a couple options. The two that I have are SEM, or SEM, guide coat in black. You can get it in different colors too, but for me, black's fine. And all you do is you treat it like spray paint, except it dries really quickly, and it doesn't clog your sandpaper. You wanna dust it on. This is about $15 to $20 a can, depending on where you buy it. Jeez. And the object here is to sand away everything until you see no more black spots and stuff around. Okay. It's been a while since you've made me do this. See that black speckly dust coating? Sand it off. It kind of just powders up and goes away nicely. Don't use super coarse grit sandpaper. You know, you've already done the shaping. You got it as close as you possibly can by feel and by your own eyeballs, and you will be surprised at what you cannot feel and what you can't really see. So that's the point of this. Notice like right in here, there's this black feathered edge. There's little speckles down in here, and I've already sanded that. So what that means is that I've got more work to do. If this is primer and you are finalizing your sanding just before paint, these scratches, metallic and pearls and any other additives are going to settle down in those valleys and, well, can cause a pattern. And it's going to be noticeable. This will reveal to you all these little imperfections and all these little things on your panel. And it's just an added insurance to make sure that your panel is nice and flat and nice and straight, because you're already doing all this work. Why stop now? 15 bucks. It can really elevate that final result. And I mean, honestly, you're saving thousands potentially if you have to repaint the car. So, you know, it's kind of a no-brainer. There's a little bit of glazing putty that I put over top of some body work that I'd done 76 years ago. I don't know at this point. I've lost track of time. Right on the edges, you can see that there's some guide coat still left. What my block says, now that I'm going over it, I no longer have it here, the guide coat here, no longer have it up here, or around in this area, but I do have it here, here, and some speckles here.
Not here or here so much, but right here.
So that's telling me that I need to add a little bit more glazing putty or filler if it was really deep to this area, and then reblock it out. Another option, aside from the aerosol, is a dry guide coat. Looks like an air freshener, and all you do, shake it up, get a nice little coating on it, and you don't want to rub in a straight line necessarily, because you're not going to work it into some of those cracks, crevices, scratches, all that stuff. So you've got a couple options. I have a couple options because, I don't know, when I'm feeling a little froggy, sometimes I'll switch it up. Excitement. It's the spice of life. Oh, it's all over me. Am I the low spot? Huh. A little bonus tip, when you block sand, don't just get in there and dig. Case, I just spit everywhere. Ignore that. In this case, this is where I just spit again. What is going on here? In this case, I'm working this area because this panel was like that. My references in this case are going to be this area, and I'm going to work it in an X pattern. I've paid more and more attention to other cars that have been restored, and one thing that I've noticed is that you can tell when people don't take their time, or when it was rushed, or people were ripped off, because the doors and other things, they wave at you as you walk by. Hello! Yep. You don't want your door waving at people. You want to be the one waving. Anyway, you get the point, you know? You don't want to have your door panels and quarter panels and all this stuff, you know, doing this because, well, it doesn't look good. So while, let's talk more work. I get it.
Monster out of my head, under my bed, thinking something out of my
pull you in real quick for another, probably better explanation of block sanding and reference surfaces. Come here. Okay, I think this is going to be a better example of what I was talking about earlier. I have a spot here that I know used to be an issue. There was a dent here, and obviously I've worked this whole section, which the body line was kind of wavy, but I do have some good references. What I'm calling reference surfaces, the metal here, it's nice and straight. I'm gonna use guide coat and I'm gonna spray it on. I'm not using the dry powder stuff right now because it doesn't stick to metal very well. So I'm gonna use the aerosol, which does. So if you're deciding, you know, which one to buy, if it's one or the other, consider that. Give it a couple seconds. I'm gonna use a block that bridges between the good stuff, the reference surfaces as I call them, and I'm gonna go in an X pattern. If I were to use a block, a small one, say like this, what I risk is taking down the bodywork. That's fine and good and all, but I'm not bridging enough between the good stuff, and what I could potentially do is go too far and make a divot, and then I'm chasing my tail and I have to go back and redo what I did, and you know. So I'm gonna work the guide coat, and I'm gonna pay attention to the area, obviously, that I'm working, switching it up. But I'm gonna pay special attention to my reference surfaces. I notice that it's coming off of my reference surface. This and this area is my reference surface. But what is happening is that it's leaving the guide coat behind here. So that means that this area is sitting too low for my paper to get. And no matter what, if I keep going, I'm never gonna get to it unless I sand into the metal. And if you're working body work, you're gonna sand out the body work that you've already done. If you're sanding on primer, then you're gonna sand down the primer too far, and you don't wanna do that. So you do have to use your head just a bit here. So what that tells me is that I need to put some glazing putty or some filler in this area and then sand it again.
Feel the sweat inside my palm. Play with me like cats and a string. You don't understand the pain it brings. You don't ever wanna give me wings. You don't ever wanna set me free.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, baby, you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed, thinking something out of my nightmares. See me right there.
So as much as I'm sure you love watching and listening to me sand, let's make this a little bit more interesting and have a conversation. Obviously, the car didn't go to the Pontiac Nationals. But not only did the car not make it, I didn't either. For me, my summers are pretty relaxed for the most part because of what I actually do for a living. If you don't know, I am a college professor. That's what I do. I teach people things. Believe it or not, I know, watching this stuff, I teach. Yeah. I like creating things, if it's not obvious. I like doing things. I like being self-sufficient. I'm motivated to do things by myself and to have skill sets that are applicable to things that I just have an interest in, and I just happen to be interested in probably too many things. That's neither here nor over there somewhere. You know, I tell you these things, by the way, because I want to share that I'm a real person doing real things, and I'm not just one-sided. Oh yeah, I wanted to show you the Pontiac Nationals haul. Let's do that. Bag number 1. Actually don't know what's in some of this stuff. I've waited all this time to be just as surprised as you are. Oh, earmuffs. I'm assuming these weren't mine. I could use them? Yeah. Huh. Guess there's only 2. Maybe that wasn't the interesting one. Here we go. Surely in an Ames bag there's something cool, right? Okay, what do we got here? The box. Warning. Power window switch. Yeah. I have a power window switch, but it doesn't work very well, and it's actually not for the right year. It's for 77 and up, 79? I don't remember when they switched. I can't remember. Yeah, needed that. What else we got here? Ooh. Oh, yeah. License plate / gas door. What is this? Oh, a lock set. Didn't have any locks or the keys to it, so got all the door locks, the trunk lock, and a glove box lock. That's what that would be. Cool. PY Classic Locks. PYAutolocks.com. Oh, I know what this is already. Lug nuts! Just a big old stack of nuts. Let's move on from that. Real mature. You guys. Oh, what's this? I know what this is too. So I will be going from crank windows to power windows in this car because the whole mechanism to get it out is kind of a nightmare, so I didn't even want to get into it. The wiring's already there. Why not? These little plugs will go in where the crank was. It's sort of like a decorative thing. And I believe that's it in this bag. Other things that my people, my parents and my uncle and aunt picked up from the Pontiac Nationals were hood hinges and springs, which we need. I accidentally sold them. I had 2 pairs of hood hinges and springs that were perfectly fine. And I don't know how somebody accidentally sells those, but I accidentally sold those. Let's chalk it up to, whoops, didn't mean to do that. So I probably got, the rest of this decade to work on bodywork. Stick around to the end of the video. A little chuckle for you, I'm sure. But I want to show you just how straight the body line is. Obviously there's some more work to do, but considering that it had a little dents and divots and little issues basically all over the panel, yeah, it's not looking bad. The next step will be putting it in epoxy primer, putting urethane primer over that, and doing a final block sanding. And if you like this, you like our little conversations, then, like the video. Comment down below if you have something you want to add or you want to yell at me for something. It's fine too, I guess. If you think I've earned it, please consider subscribing to the channel. It definitely helps nobody like me. I'll see you in the next project. There's a lot more to do. You don't need to watch me saying this forever, right? Let me just show you what we... Anyway, see you next time.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, maybe you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed, thinking something out of my nightmares.
Hood hinges, nope, nah.